Hello, and welcome to Curated Learning Networks. I'm Ben Wolkoff, Director of Blended Learning for Denver Public Schools, and I'd like to talk today about what it means to be a curator, both for yourself and for others, within a community, within a school, within a district. And I'd like to start by thinking through what a network is. A network is people. It is not nodes. It is not little branches in a diagram. It is people. And if we respect that and understand that, we have to think about the currency that we are exchanging with one another. The currency, as I see it, is ideas. We are sending and receiving ideas from one another, and they feed us, they drive us. Because learning within a network is a transaction. It is something that you are giving to others and that you are receiving from others. It's between you and your connections in the network. And you're making a compact with them. You are agreeing to serve and to be served. You are agreeing to be a part of the community, a part of the network. And you are saying that I am going to be an active part of it. That you are going to feed others and be fed by others in this learning transaction. And hopefully it's a little bit more appetizing than these ants. But to me, that's where we come from, is in a network we are people being fed by one another. We are teaching one another. Students are experts in our room. Other teachers are experts. We are one another's best resource. The problem, though, is that this currency, this transaction, is fraught with counterfeiting. What I mean by that is that all networks, every network that you are a part of, is flooded with counterfeit ideas, copies of copies of copies. And it is our job to filter out the counterfeit ideas and the content. If you receive an idea from someone that has been copied and watered down and not changed and built upon and added value, then really you're just forwarding on something that didn't have value in the first place or that you haven't added anything to. It is our job to be the filter for one another, rather than just to disseminate all information. If we are all forwarding on the great things that we have and not curating them, finding the best things for one another, then we aren't doing our evaluative job. We aren't doing the filtering job, the capacity that we have to do that for one another. I believe it's our responsibility to be the curators, to show only the good stuff to one another. And by doing that, we create a better network. And when we are curators for one another, we distinguish the noise from the signal. In a network, you have so much noise, it's almost cacophonous, where things are bouncing off of one another. You have these great ideas, but then no time to execute. We are saying that there is enough noise, and we want the signal, the stuff that is going to truly impact our practice. And then it is our responsibility to amplify that signal, showing the value of every link that we find valuable, every post or every learning experience that we're crafting for one another. We're amplifying the signal and making it more valuable. I believe that it is our job to find the personal BI/O, the personal bio for each other, for ourselves. And I want to talk about what that means. So there are 4 different pieces, BI/O. We're going to talk about each one as we go through. Now, each one of these has a different resource or a different set of resources, and you can go to each one and explore on your own. I'm going to give a brief overview of what it is, what you can use it for, and how it works, but please go and explore it on your own. The question I'd like you to ask yourself is, what is your BI/O? What is your bio? and to think about that on a consistent basis. To me, B is for before. How do you filter things out before they get to you? How do you make your own filters so that they do not overload you even before you get to the curation point? Even before you are able to look at things critically, how do you filter out the massive amount of information? I'm talking about email overload, notification overload, all of these different pieces that come in that you do not want to have to sort through and sift through by hand. How do you do that filtering? One of my favorite tools is called unroll.me. And what this does is it filters out all of the extra subscription email within my inbox, filters it out so that I get one single email at 9 a.m. every day that has all of those emails in a single digest. And I like to think about that idea of digest learning, where I am having someone else or some other service filter out the unimportant stuff or distilling it for a specific time and place where I can set aside 5-10 minutes to look at all of them rather than having constant interruptions throughout the day. Another tool I like a lot is called Hajoki. Hajoki allows me to add all of my services that I use, Google Docs, Evernote, Dropbox, all of these different things, and it provides a universal dashboard and notification system where I get notified of edits that are being made to Google Docs, of new calendar events, all of these kinds of things in a single place. And I can get that digest daily of all of the things that happen throughout the day, documents that were edited, or things that were added to my Dropbox. All of those different things in one place so that it's filtering out all of these contributions that are happening in a collaborative space within the network. And it's making it manageable for me so that I can look at a single email or I can go into the dashboard and see it. I is for input. We want to think about where are we sourcing our information. My favorite question is where are you going to ask your questions? What networks are you tapping into? I believe that your network is as big as you want to make it. And the problem is the majority of the time the network that we are searching within is Google. And Google has the largest network that has ever existed. And by searching within that network, we are not limiting ourselves. We're not limiting it to just educational institutions. We're not limiting it to just people who are thinking about the things that we want to be thinking about in online or in blended learning. So how do you limit your network? How do you make the input smarter? One of my favorite ways of doing this is using the tool called TAGBOARD, which allows me to search through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google+, App.net, all of these different social networks so that I can get a picture of a single topic coming into a single place. So I see it across all of these different social networks, and I can search for things like EdChat, or I can search for things that are specific to my needs. If I'm looking up classroom use of Google Apps, if I'm trying to figure out how it works together. So all of these things are feeding into a single place. Another one of my favorite places to go is CloudKite. CloudKite is a service that lets you search through open and public documents from Google Docs, from Evernote, from Dropbox, from SkyDrive, from Box.net, all of these different sources where people are collaborating. And that way you see the public documents, the things that they want to share with others. And it becomes the sharing network of document creation, of presentation creation, all of these different things. If you're looking for something on a particular topic, finding something that has been collaborated upon is a much better way of using resources than developing it yourself. I'm also a really big fan of targeted search. On the web page for this session, there are a number of different ways to do advanced search in Google, in Twitter, in Google+, or other places or you can have some advanced operands where you are able to do specific searches, where you are limiting it to a specific site on the web or a specific file type or one of the other ways in which we filter out and make the input smarter. The question you keep on coming back to is, where are you searching? Why are you using that to search? How are you limiting your search? The slash, we finally get to the curation portion. This is about creating collections and finding a community of people who are curating. My favorite places to curate is Pearl trees, because it creates a tree of information, a tree of knowledge, if you think about it, where all of the different nodes are ideas and they are people, and you can organize all of the things that you are curating into a single tree of information and links and resources. And you can embed that within a web page, within an online course, within all of the different places that you exist. You can embed your Pearl tree and have that be a part of your knowledge sharing. And Canvas takes the metaphor and says, we want to have an organized canvas of all of the different resources. The reasons why I like EdCanvas is that it allows you to lay things out and to search through a number of different sources like Guru, like YouTube, and have them sorted specific to the steps in a process. If you wanted to have students go through and say, this is step 1, step 2, and you can have little checks for comprehension in between those steps. They let you embed quizzes and things like that. So to me, that is a great way of using your ability to curate and to limit the scope. Mentor Mob uses a different metaphor where you're creating playlists of ideas or resources and you're curating according to the needs of the person that, or the people that are in your network. You're creating a playlist of learning. I'm also a big fan of the way that Pinterest and Learnist let you create boards. So laying it out in a visual way, looking at it from what are the most visual elements of what I'm trying to teach or what I'm trying to learn, and finding ways of leveling up, right? So finding ways of, rather than getting at the individual resource level, you're getting it at the board level or the playlist level in MentorMob, or the canvas level in EdCanvas, or the tree level in Pearl trees. So no matter what metaphor makes the most sense to you for organizing information, if you are able to search at that next layer up, you're able to do that a lot better. So you have your resource at the beginning, your board or playlist that's sort of in the middle there, and then the people that are doing the curating are the highest level of value. Finally, we come to O is for output. We want to remix and reflect upon the curation that we're doing. How do we do that? So I like to use Storify, which I can pull in from places around the web and create an individual story of what it is that I am learning about, reflecting upon it, adding information. I am adding some value rather than just copying it down. And I'm creating a story of what it is that I'm learning. Snap Guide for very specific things. One of my favorite things to do with this is to create either how-tos or what did I learn today, and the ability to do that at a moment's notice just using pictures and a few pieces of information. I also find looking in there for other people's snap guides are really interesting ways of doing it. To me, the question remains, what is your BI/O? What is your bio? What do you do before you are curating? What are your inputs for curation? How are you curating? And what is your output? Are you using a blog to write up all of your resources? Are you using your course as the collection point for all of them? What is the process that you are going through in order to curate? Ben Wilkoff. You can always contact me on Twitter, BHWilkoff, and you can obviously see all of the different things that we're doing at Learning is Change. Thank you so much for watching.